There's a silent battle being fought every single day, right on the streets of our cities and towns. It's this fight to save our built history, the very soul of the places we live. So today, we're going to dive into why this matters so much and what it actually takes to win.
Just imagine for a second, you're walking through your town, and those buildings that give it its character, the ones that hold all the stories, what if they were just gone? What if all that physical evidence of our past just vanished?
And here's the thing, this isn't some hypothetical question. It's actually happening right now. All across the world, really important buildings are being lost. They're lost to decay, neglect, sometimes even demolition. And the stakes? They're incredibly high, because when a building disappears, a piece of our shared story is gone with it. Forever.
So you might be asking, why should we even care? Well, it's because these places aren't just a pile of bricks and mortar, right? They're real, tangible links to our past. They're like physical records of the values, the ambitions, and all the stories of the people who came before us.
Okay, so when we talk about preservation, it really boils down to protecting three core things. These are the big reasons why we fight so hard to save these places. Their direct link to the past, their role as a symbol of our culture, and honestly, just their pure aesthetic beauty. So first up, that link to the past. These buildings are literally like three-dimensional history books. You can walk right into them. Just by looking at an old building, you can see firsthand the architectural styles, the way things were built back then, and you can even start to get a real feel for how people lived their lives. And second, they're a huge reflection of our identity as a community. I mean, think about the iconic buildings in your own town. They become these powerful symbols, right? They reflect our shared values, our traditions, our beliefs. They really give us a sense of place, a sense of belonging.
And finally, let's be honest. A lot of these buildings are just art. Art that we can literally walk through. Their design, their craftsmanship, it adds so much to the character and beauty of a place. It's that visual pleasure that just makes our daily lives a little richer.
Okay, so now that we know why this is all so important, the big question is, how is it actually done? Let's dive into what's called the preservationist toolkit and see how these structures are pulled back from the brink. So, folks in this field basically have a toolkit with 5 main methods. It all starts with documentation. That means understanding every single inch of a building's history. After that, you've got a few different paths: precise restoration, practical rehabilitation, and of course, the super important everyday work of just maintenance. And then there's this really cool one called adaptive reuse, which is all about totally reimagining a building's purpose. And the goal here, it's not just about freezing a building in time, like it's some museum piece. No, it's really a mission of protection, restoration, and maintenance. The whole point is to make sure these buildings don't just last a long time, but that they also stay relevant and useful in today's world. Now, this is super helpful because it breaks down 3 terms that sound almost the same but are actually really different. First, you have restoration. That's all about getting a building back to its original state, exactly as it was. Then there's rehabilitation. That's where you adapt it for a new use, but you're really careful to keep its historic character intact. And finally, adaptive reuse. This is a complete transformation. Think turning an old factory into cool apartments. You're giving the building a totally new life while still honoring its past. But of course, this work is anything but easy. I mean, preservationists are facing a constant uphill battle, and there are 3 major hurdles that seem to pop up again and again. Yup, 3 key challenges. And understanding these is really the key to seeing why so many of our important buildings are still at risk today. And here are the big 3: cost, awareness, and skills. As you can see, the biggest hurdle by far is usually the money. Just the sheer cost of this work can be staggering. But almost as damaging is a simple lack of public awareness, people just not knowing why it matters. And finally, there's a real shortage of people with the right skills to do this kind of specialized work. And when we say skilled professionals, we're not just talking about any contractor. We mean people with super specific expertise. We're talking about architects, engineers, and conservators who really get historic materials and old-school building techniques. This isn't your average construction job. It's incredibly delicate, specialized work. So where does all this leave us? Let's kind of wrap things up and look at the final takeaway here: the future of our past. The bottom line is this: preservation isn't a one-and-done kind of deal. It's a constant, ongoing effort. You can think of it as an act of stewardship, really. It's a promise we're making to keep our shared story alive, so that the generations that come after us can actually see and touch and experience the history that made us who we are. And that really brings us to the final question. And this one is for you. Take a look around your own neighborhood, your own community. What building there tells a story? What piece of your history do you think is worth saving?